Are you producing as much art as you dreamt you would? Do you find yourself procrastinating and making excuses about not enough time, not enough energy to paint? Trust me, I've been there. In this video, I'm going to cover 4 reasons artists tend to hold themselves back almost without realizing it, plus what you can do about it. Reason number 1, feeling intimidated by a composition you want to paint leads to procrastination. The way you can get around this feeling is to practice the elements. Look at the composition and see which of the parts you think you can do, which of the parts you're not so sure about. Then go to your notebook and try some of those things out. For example, trying out trees by themselves. Do one tree and then a tree with grass or a tree in a meadow. Try each of those elements by themselves to give you confidence before you tackle the larger painting. If you're not sure about something like a gradient wash, such as a clear blue sky, you need a gradient there. Or you know you've got a series of flat washes you need to do. These are perfect to try in your notebook. Number 2, hating nearly everything you paint. Expect your painting to look different from the way you imagined it. The reasons are, 1, the colors may be different. It could be that you didn't match the colors exactly because you didn't want to, or B, it just happened that way. It doesn't really matter because what counts in the end is value. Another reason is the value. Are your values dark enough in your painting to give it depth? The easy fix for that is to go back with darker values. Another thing to look at is, what about your drawing? Did you decide to make the drawing different from the reference photo, which may have been necessary to get a good composition, or it just might be different? At about 50 to 80% completion, I tend to put my reference photo away because now I want to concentrate on the painting. What does the painting need? And that's where I can decide, do I need to brighten a color? Do I need to darken a color? There's your value. Do I find that some of the shapes don't touch and blend the way they should, that they're a little too separated? Consider applying a unifying wash. Otherwise, the painting may just be good and you don't see it because it's not the way you imagine. Which leads me to my next suggestion. Put away paintings that you're not satisfied with. It's amazing how just letting them sit for 2 weeks, a month, year can give you a fresh perspective. I can't tell you how many times I've put paintings away that I thought were utter failures and pulled them out and said, oh, I kind of like that. Look for the good parts in your painting. There are some. Maybe there's a blending of colors that you like, or a tree turned out particularly well, or some figures are in proportion. Yay! I wanted to go over an example of a painting that I'm dissatisfied with. Here's actually the original painting. You might recognize this, Telegraph Hill in San Francisco. Lots of problems with this painting. My basic word for it is amateurish. I don't want to go over it too much because it was bad enough where I wanted to redo it. The subject is to be this church. That's what I intended. But I was taken in with all the details of the buildings, these apartments or townhomes that line this street, all the cars parked at the side, and the glint of the sun on top of them. But I just wasn't happy with it. Is there anything I liked about this? Not much. So this was rough. Maybe the cars a little bit, maybe some of these elements here. But this piece here is just to frame this in. It doesn't really mean anything. So here's the first redo. What I decided to do was to do more of one shape at a time. That every one of these buildings together makes a shape, even though they're separate objects. And I achieved it pretty well. Here are the parts I like. I like this section of the buildings in the distance where I only suggest windows and rooftops. And this was about noon, so the sun was very high in the sky, and this was June. I liked the church pretty well. I didn't use any masking fluid. I was trying to use negative painting. I think that going back with this semi-opaque paint helps. I wish I had left more unpainted spaces here. But overall, this is working. I think the eye does go towards the church. This side view here of these buildings is very muted. There's hardly any detail. And so it acts more as a frame. I think the cars turned out pretty well, but here's the problem area. And I think that it ruined the painting. What I needed this to look like was like this. And I just didn't do it. I decided I was going to try to put in more detail. Then I went back with some opaque white. Then I scrubbed, and I went back again, and it just didn't work. So that's how I go over my paintings to see, well, what worked, and can I reproduce it? Aim for a 25% success rate. Yes, 1 in 4 paintings succeeding. And that's really not that bad. You will improve over time and be able to get that up. Nobody has a 100% success rate. Nobody. Not even the best watercolor artist on the earth. Reason number 3, you don't know what to paint. Well, one thing you can do is start with objects around the house. Things like dishes or vases, fruits and vegetables, and just do one at a time, or maybe a piece of fruit on a saucer. Then draw them or paint them in your notebook. This is your personal notebook. It's nobody else's business what's in your notebook unless you choose to share it. The 4th reason that we artists tend to hold ourselves back is we're busy people. We feel like we don't have enough time. We've run out of energy. A rule I used to make for myself when it came to practicing dance, I used to dance, was, I'm just too tired. So I would say, all right, I will do it for 10 minutes. And if after 10 minutes I'm still tired, I legitimately need to take a break. And you know what? It never happened. I got into what I was trying to learn, and the time would pass and I would find myself spending 45 minutes to an hour. So, translating that to painting, tell yourself, I'll take 15 minutes and just at least draw something or paint a little sketch in my notebook. Another thing you can do is to use time-saving brushes. I have videos that talk about quill brush because these hold a lot of water, but they come to a fine point so you don't have to change as often. A liner brush. These liner brushes allow you to do random marks on your leaves and your foliage. And that's a big time saver when you don't have to try to purposefully be random when you want to be regular. Another brush is this hardware store brush. I get this at Lowe's for $1.28. It's an inch wide, and you can brush in clouds, you can brush in foliage. It's amazing how much you can get done with just this one brush. I tend to use it for my first layer, sometimes my second, but the first layer really sets the foundation for your painting, and I'll put links up above for all of these things. Before I forget, I also want to mention that using large round brushes can be very effective. I have a link above that shows a video where I went from using very small brushes to large brushes and how it saved me time and effort. It made it a lot easier, it made the colors blend a lot better, and I was ultimately more satisfied. And another thing you can consider, if you only have 15 minutes, maybe 20, is to actually do a little game, and that's called a 15-minute challenge or a 20-minute challenge. And the idea is you draw something you're going to paint. It needs to be simple, like an apple on a saucer or just an apple on a counter or something very simple. And you give yourself 20 minutes. Now it's up to you as to whether you want to include drawing time. I've done them before and I've included drawing time. Woo! That can get your heart racing. But if you don't, it's up to you. And compete against yourself. It helps you be less perfect. And in watercolor, less perfect means more blending on the paper and more surprises, more happy accidents that make us more satisfied. I hope you found these suggestions helpful and implement them. Let me know in the comments if you do any of them.